everyone! Welcome to PST channel, Game Stories, Movie Style, for your busy day. Today we will adventure through two parallel worlds to find the truth hidden in the darkness, the biggest continuation from Chrono Trigger ending. Here is summary story Chrono Cross, the RPG classic. If you're ready, let's adventure together once again. Chrono Cross begins on a late morning in the year 1020 AD, in the fishing village of Arni, a peaceful place off the coast of El Nido's main island. Serge is woken by his mother, who urges him to get out of bed and go meet his childhood friend, Lina, as he promised. When Serge finally arrives to see Lina, later than planned, she reminds him of his promise to gather Komodo scales so she can craft a necklace. Although Lina wants to go with Serge, she must babysit at that moment. Because Serge is late, he has to search for Komodo scales alone. They agree to meet again at Opassa Beach, an enigmatic shoreline on the western edge of El Nido, once he finishes his quest. After Serge successfully hunts down several Komodo pups and collects the Komodo scales, he presents them to Lina at Opassa Beach. Lina thanks Serge and begins chatting about days gone by, as well as the future that lies ahead for both of them. Suddenly, Serge feels as though someone is calling his name. And in that very moment, Serge collapses, unconscious. Serge awakens, only to be roused by an elderly woman who appears not to recognize him. He immediately asks about Lina, but the elderly woman says she only saw him lying there alone. Confused, Serge runs to speak with Lina at the village. Yet when he talks to her, he discovers that she does not know him at all. Instead, she somehow feels a strange familiarity, recalling a boy named Serge who used to live next door. That boy had died 10 years ago, and his grave is on Cape Howell. Hearing this, Serge heads to Cape Howell to see if it's true. Sure enough, he finds a tombstone bearing the name Serge, stating that this Serge died at age 7. Right at that moment, Serge encounters a long-haired man named Karsh. Karsh has come here under orders to capture Serge and bring him before someone. Serge nearly falls into Karsh's hands, but he is saved by a fierce, spunky girl who appears out of nowhere, forcing Karsh to retreat. She introduces herself as Kid, saying it's her first time visiting the El Nido archipelago, and she invites Serge to join her team. At this point and several others in the game, the player can choose whether to accept or refuse. The choice won't directly affect the ending but will change some story events and which characters join. In this case, even if you refuse Kid now, you may have a chance later to recruit her again. However, certain characters won't be recruitable if you miss them. After resting that night, Serge and Kid set out the following day for Termina, the crowning city of El Nido. Upon arriving, they learn that Karsh, a notable member of the Acacia Dragoons, a military and governmental organization of El Nido, was under orders from General Viper, who serves as Lord of El Nido, to capture Serge. Serge and Kid decide to sneak into Viper Manor to find out why the Acacia Dragoons want Serge so badly. Kid herself also seems to have some personal business with them. To infiltrate Viper Manor, the home of the Acacia Dragoons, there are 3 possible routes. The player can choose one of 3 guides, each leading through a different path. Guile, a member of the mysterious magic guild; Nikki, a rocking bard who leads the Magical Dreamers music group; Pierre, a graceful knight in training. In addition to during the planning stages of Chrono Cross, Guile was originally intended to be Magus in disguise, traveling with Serge to uncover the truth about his sister Schala. However, as more characters were added, the developers felt it would be too difficult to fully explore Magus's story among so many others, so Guile's backstory was removed. Eventually, Serge and company successfully infiltrate Viper Manor. Along the way, they encounter a mysterious old man who calls himself the Prophet of Time in the Manor's library. This prophet seems to know Serge very well, and he provides crucial information. He explains that 10 years ago, something happened to Serge that gave him a 50-50 chance of life or death, causing his future to split into two paths. In one world, Serge survived and continued living peacefully. But in this world, Serge died, and his presence here is merely a spirit summoned from the past. The prophet suggests Serge might be a missing piece that this world needs. Afterward, Serge and friends proceed further and meet Harl, a mysterious girl who appears to know Serge and Kid. She introduces herself as Lynx's right-hand woman and warns Serge to get out of there before quickly leaving. Though she seems fond of Serge, Kid and Harl obviously don't get along. Soon, Serge reaches General Viper's office, where something on the desk catches his eye. Suddenly, Viper, a robust old man leading the Acacia Dragoons, and Lynx, a demi-human with a feline face, reveal themselves before Serge's group. Kid calls Lynx a murderer. She reveals that she is here in Viper Manor searching for the legendary treasure known as the Frozen Flame, and to kill Lynx. Lynx tells Kid the Frozen Flame is not here but at the Sea of Eden. A battle then erupts between Serge's group and Lynx. Although Lynx appears to lose, it's revealed he was only a shadow form. He calls Serge the assassin of time, the Chrono Trigger, inviting Serge to join him. Of course, Serge refuses. Serge and the others flee Viper Manor, but during the escape, Lynx ambushes Kid, leaving her badly wounded. Despite escaping successfully, Kid falls gravely ill from Lynx's Hydra poison. She only has about 2 days left to live unless she receives Hydra humor, which is refined from a Hydra's bodily fluids. But Hydras have been hunted to extinction in this world. Kid then hands Serge the Astral Amulet, a small, star-colored talisman. At this point, the player can choose whether to help Kid or ignore her. The choice doesn't directly affect the ending, but it will alter some story events and which characters can join. Regardless of your choice, Kid will ultimately survive and return to Serge's party. If you ignore her, a young man from the mainland visiting Doc learns about Kid's plight and provides the Hydra humor, enabling Doc to save her, and which characters can join. If you help her, the Astral Amulet allows Serge to travel back to his original world via a green wormhole at Opassa Beach. There, he can search for a surviving Hydra in that alternate dimension. Eventually, Serge obtains the Hydra humor and creates the antidote to save Kid, allowing her to pass the critical stage of the illness. After Kid recovers, she intends to go after Lynx once again and continue the hunt for the Frozen Flame. She tells Serge that Lynx stole something precious from her. Returning to Termina, Serge and Kid learn that Viper and his men have headed to Fort Dragonia, so that's their next destination. Upon reaching Fort Dragonia, Serge and company clash with General Viper. Yet before the fight concludes, Viper is suddenly stabbed in the back by Lynx. Lynx then uses an item once seen on Viper's desk, the Dragon Tear, a legendary treasure that lets its possessor swap bodies with someone else. He activates the Dragon Tear on Serge, causing them to switch bodies. After it's used, the Dragon Tear becomes the Tear of Hate. Lynx, now in Serge's body, stabs Kid. He tells Serge, now trapped in Lynx's body, that if he wants to end the nightmare from 10 years ago, he should come to the Sea of Eden. Then Lynx sends Serge to the temporal vortex, a strange, colorful realm existing outside both the home world, where Serge lives, and another world, where Serge died. After that, Serge, still trapped in Lynx's body, meets Sprig, Dwarfish Woman, and Harl, who join forces with him to find a way out of the temporal vortex. Ultimately, they succeed in returning to Serge's home world, the world where Serge is still alive. However, Serge and his companions find themselves unable to go back to the another world, the world in which Serge supposedly died. They decide to visit Serge's mother, hoping for more useful information. When Serge, in Lynx's body, returns home and explains everything that happened, his mother admits she knows nothing of dimensional travel or alternate worlds. Yet she does reveal that, 14 years ago, Serge's father Wazuki and Lena's father Miguel went out to sea despite a raging storm, driven by some urgent matter. They were swept away to the Dead Sea, a place known 14 years prior as the Sea of Eden. Afterward, something changed within Serge's father, Wazuki, and Miguel never returned at all. In pursuit of the truth, Serge and his party search for clues on how to reach the another world. They eventually manage to enter the Dead Sea. There, the waves are completely still, allowing them to walk on foot through eerie, futuristic ruins. Within these ruins, they find a lithosphere investigation report, an archive discussing Lavos, an alien life form that fell from the heavens to Earth in 65 million BC and now slumbers beneath the planet's surface. This report comes from the year 2300 AD. Okay, now it is the time to merge the story between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross together. The lore explained incoming. As Serge and company venture further toward the heart of the Dead Sea, they stumble upon the remains of Nadia's bell, which was originally built in 1000 AD. Yes, the same bell King Guardia, Merle's father, installed at the end of Chrono Trigger. They also encounter 3 childlike ghosts with the faces of Chrono, Luca, and Merle from Chrono Trigger. Those 3 once traveled across time to defeat Lavos, the parasitic alien life form, averting the day of Lavos that would have destroyed the world in the original 2300 AD timeline. Thanks to their success, that bleak future should never have happened. But now, in future of the world where Serge lives, Lavos will manages to rise again and destroy the world. The Dead Sea is a reflection of that catastrophic outcome. The 3 ghost children accuse Serge of causing this grim fate, calling him a murderer. They claim that the reason the world is going to end up like this is Serge's fault. Suddenly, Miguel appears, Lena's father and Wazuki's, Serge's father, companion, who vanished 14 years ago. It turns out he was taken by a force known as Fate after he, Wazuki, and the injured young Serge arrived here. Under Fate's command, Miguel was made the guardian of the frozen flame at the heart of the Dead Sea. Miguel revealed that this place is the Tower of Geddon, and those ghostly Chrono, Luca, and Merle are the future that was not chosen. Miguel invites Serge to remain here, but Serge refuses because he wants to restore the broken dimension. Miguel then challenges Serge to defeat him in combat if Serge truly wishes to move forward. After Serge wins, Miguel suggests that maybe Serge can triumph over Fate itself. He tells Serge only the Chosen One can possess the frozen flame, and that Serge is the person the flame has selected. However, Fate chooses to destroy the flame, along with its enemies, Serge rather than let him have it. It begins to annihilate the Dead Sea, forcing Serge and his group to flee for their lives. As they are about to be swallowed by destruction, a dragon flies in to rescue them. It is the Sky Dragon. The Sky Dragon explains that it only wants to observe whether Serge lives or dies. It then advises him to be prepared for the trials to come. Serge and company return to Opassa Beach, and for some reason, the destruction of the Dead Sea grants them another chance to cross dimensions. Arriving in the Another World again, Serge learns that Lynx is heading to the Sea of Eden to claim the frozen flame of that world. Serge and his party also attempt to reach the Sea of Eden, but find themselves blocked by the pearly gates, which bar their passage. Harl tells Serge that to pass through these gates, he needs the dragon relics, obtained from the 6 dragons.
Wait.
And he must use the dragon tear to switch his body back from Lynx to Serge. Thus begins their journey to find all dragons, who each test the party's worthiness. Serge overcomes every trial, acquiring the 6 dragon relics at last. He returns to home world to see Stina, the spiritual mystic of Dragonian prophecy, and keeper of the dragon tear in this world, who grants Serge the dragon tear. They travel to Fort Dragonia and use the dragon tear. Serge finally regains his human body. Once used, that dragon tear transforms into the Tear of Love. Armed with the 6 dragon relics, Serge returns to the pearly gates and uses them to open a path into the Sea of Eden. Inside future ruins or Chronopolis, Serge discovers the truth about Chronopolis and Fate, a supercomputer created by Balthasar. Here's some extra detail. Fate is an evolved system from the old mother brain of Chrono Trigger, designed to manage Chronopolis, a time research installation. It runs with assistance from the Prometheus Circuit, the true name of Robo, who once helped guard and maintain Chronopolis alongside Fate. Fate uses the power of the frozen flame to monitor and mentally guide the people of El Nido, ensuring they never grow curious or try to leave El Nido, thus keeping them on their preordained path or fate. When Serge reaches the location of the frozen flame, he finds Lynx waiting for him, and Kid lies there unconscious. Lynx reveals that 10 years ago, Serge was attacked by a panther demon. Wazuki, Serge's father, and Miguel, Lena's father, risked the stormy sea to seek a doctor for Serge but ended up drifting to the Sea of Eden, ultimately entering Chronopolis. Just then, the frozen flame called out to them. Because a storm had temporarily knocked Fate offline, the Prometheus Circuit reactivated and instituted a new security measure. No one but the Arbiter could access the frozen flame. Since Serge was the last person to touch it, he became that Arbiter. As a result, Fate could no longer access the flame, hence Lynx's need for Serge's body for access Flozen Flame. Wazuki and Miguel were taken captive by Fate. Fate took control of Wazuki's mind, reshaping him into the form Serge most feared, a panther. Miguel, meanwhile, was imprisoned in the Dead Sea. Though Wazuki managed to help Serge escape, he later drowned Serge in an attempt to kill him. Over time, Wazuki himself transformed completely into Lynx. Essentially, Lynx is Fate's physical manifestation. Right then, Lynx orders Fate to eliminate the Prometheus Circuit before Serge's very eyes. Lynx transforms into Fate for the final showdown. Serge battles fate and emerges victorious. Yet something unexpected happens now that fate is gone. Kid wakes up and explains that Terra Tower, which originated from Dinopolis, the ancient home of the Dragonians, has emerged from the ocean. Dinopolis is the future city of the Reptites, who later evolved into the Dragonians. When Chronopolis traveled back in time to 12,000 BC, in a parallel world, the will of the planet itself pulled peaceful Dinopolis into that same era in which Chronopolis appeared, triggering a time crash. A war then erupted between Dinopolis and Chronopolis. In the end, Chronopolis emerged victorious. Fate sealed away the Reptite fortress, split the dragon god into 6 separate parts, and enclosed Chronopolis within the Sea of Eden to keep those 6 separated dragons from entering, and to secure the frozen flame within. With no longer fate, the 6 dragons are finally set free, once again. Suddenly, Harl steps in and snatches the frozen flame right before Serge can intervene. Harl tells Serge she doesn't want to fight him, bids him farewell, then merges with the 6 dragons. Together, they reunite into the original dragon god. At this moment, Kid falls unconscious once again. It becomes clear that Serge's group was tricked by the dragons into destroying Fate, who had been using the power of the frozen flame to divide and seal the dragons in a long slumber. Now that Fate is gone, the dragons reassemble for their revenge humanity. Serge takes the 2 halves of the dragon tear, the tear of hate and the tear of love, to the shrine at the Divine Dragon Falls, where he forges the Chrono Cross, the ultimate, long-lost element of the 7th color attribute. He returns to Kid, who still lies unconscious. The Chrono Cross glimmers, transporting Serge into Kid's past. He appears at Luca's home, which has been converted into an orphanage, now engulfed in flames. Lynx and Harl are behind the attack, aiming to kidnap Luca, known formally as Dr. Luca Ashtier, so she can be forced to subdue the Prometheus circuit, which prevents Fate from accessing the frozen flame. Serge manages to save the children, Kid among them, and then returns to the present. Back in the present, Kid wakes up again and rejoins the party. With renewed resolve, Serge's group raids the Risen Terra Tower. Along the way, they stumble upon a passage that strangely leads to Viper Manor, and eventually to the Prophet's library. The Prophet reveals himself to be Balthasar, the Sage of Reason from the ancient magical kingdom of Zeal in 12,000 BC. By that kingdom of Zeal once harnessed Lavas's unlimited power through the Mammon machine, built from Dreamstone, which efficiently conducted Lavas's energy. That power was stored in the form of the frozen flame. Eventually, Zeal was destroyed by Lavos. At that moment, Balthasar was thrown by a dimensional vortex far into the future, the year 2300 AD. There, he began his research, which led to the creation of Chronopolis, powered by the frozen flame, and ultimately caused the time crash. Using a time machine of his own making, he traveled to the current era. Balthasar also reveals that Harl is in fact the seventh dragon, created by the six dragons after they temporarily escaped Fate's control during a night of violent electric storms. Later, Serge and his allies scale the tower where the frozen flame rests, confronting the dragon god at last. Serge's party succeeds in defeating the dragon god. Yet the story does not end there. Balthasar reappears to explain that the frozen flame is actually a splinter of the extraterrestrial being Lavos. He presents Serge with the Time Egg, also called the Chrono Trigger, enabling them to travel beyond space and time into the darkness to unite the two worlds and do battle with the Time Devourer. This new life form was born from a fusion of Lavos and a being of this planet, lurking in the far reaches of the dimensional void. If they fail to stop it, the Time Devourer will begin to consume all of space-time. Immediately afterward, the tower changes shape and collapses into the ocean. Serge and his companions head to Opassa Beach and activate the Time Egg. The ghost children appear, revealing that Schala, Princess of Zeal, was merged with Lavos, forming an even more powerful entity that would become the Devourer of Time. Filled by Lavas's sadness and hatred, half of Schala's mind was consumed by destructive impulses, desiring to destroy everything, while the other half wished to protect the universe and be rescued. Here's some extra detail. Following Lavas's defeat, it was likely banished to the darkness beyond time. There, it encountered Schala, who had been displaced by the Ocean Palace incident. Lavos then merged with her, giving rise to a new entity, the Dream Devourer. In its mature form, the Dream Devourer evolved into the Time Devourer. However, Schala's heart heard Serge's cries, reaching across time in an effort to contact his dimension. That created the magnetic storm that disabled Fate's systems, allowing Serge to encounter the frozen flame in the first place. Before she was fully lost to despair, Schala left behind her baby daughter clone along with her magical pendant. Even Kid insists that she is simply who she is, not merely Schala's daughter clone. This child would become the precious little sister of Luca, none other than Kid. Serge, guided by Project Kid, walks the path Balthasar set in motion: the founding of Chronopolis, the time crash, the clashes between Fate and the Dragon God, all designed so Serge could claim the Chrono Cross and arrive at this moment in time. And the person who traveled back 10 years ago to save Serge and cause the dimensional split, and who later called Serge to another world, where he was talking to Lena at Opassa Beach at the start, was Kid herself. Ultimately, Serge and his allies journey into the darkness of time for a final battle to free Schala from Lavos. Facing the Devourer of Time, They use the Chrono Cross to defeat this entity and save Schala at last. But this is not the last time we're gonna see Lavos, as he will also appear again in another Eden. Schala is free. The two previously separated timelines merge into one. Schala said that Serge will lose all memories of what happened, but she said she will find him. Serge awakens on Opassa Beach and finds Lena there. He asks her about Terra Tower and fate, yet she has no idea what he's talking about. She only asks, "You got some Komodo dragon scales for me, don't you remember?" and remarks that their summer is just beginning. Thus the curtain falls on this grand adventure, confident that Schala Kidseal will meet Serge again someday. Well, but did you know that Chrono Cross does not end here? I mean, this game never tell where do Serge and Kid end up after this. In fact, Serge's party will continue their story in another Eden, the cat beyond time and space on their collaboration. Since their story writer are the same person, so I'm leaning toward this as canon. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe for more movie-style game stories. We cover everything from classic RPGs like Final Fantasy to the latest mobile and MMO. Life's busy, so we keep games short and sweet. Get the story without the time commitment, a quarter of the time, all the fun. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon!